Hi, my name is Ash Byers, and the title of my chapel talk is COVID's Environmental Upside. Quarantine has given humanity a much needed time out, and many have taken it as an opportunity to reflect on themselves while desperately waiting for the pandemic to pass. Yet, more has come of this brief hibernation than self contemplation. During the time in which humans have been confined to their homes, the environment has been significantly better off. It turns out that social distancing is not just beneficial for keeping humans well, but for giving the world the break it deserves from mankind's daily destruction. Humans must pay attention to how these changes occur due to humanity's brief absence and deliberate how to avoid going back to harmful tendencies as people crawl out of quarantine. Almost a year has passed since lockdowns began, yet in only the first few months of quarantine, the world saw many environmental changes thanks to the abrupt interruption of humanity's activity. From NBC News, quote, "Countries that have been under stringent lockdowns to stop the spread of the coronavirus have experienced an unintended benefit. The outbreak has, at the least part, contributed to a noticeable drop in pollution and greenhouse gas emissions in some countries." End quote. These alterations to the atmosphere are incredible. For example, according to Dr. Larissa Funik-Hoffman, quote, "Greenhouse gas emissions have dropped around the world to the point in which the change is visible from space. Satellites monitoring pollution for NASA and the European Space Agency have since detected a marked decrease in airborne nitrogen dioxide after the shutdowns." End quote. This demonstrates the intensity of these changes and provokes thought on how to encourage the positive transformation to continue. It's essential for humanity to avoid slipping back into old habits once quarantine ends. People are getting sick of staying in, longing to go back to their pre-pandemic lifestyles. But a big part of pushing towards that is to continue following COVID regulations. Cities across the nation risk throwing away the recovery the atmosphere has made as they open back up by the public's demand. NBC News states that, quote, "Experts warned that observed reductions are temporary and that as states, countries, and economies bounce back, so too will emissions unless major infrastructure or societal changes are adopted." End quote. Humanity cannot keep ignoring environmental issues as it has before. There are risks to not making changes to keep up with the ecological advantages of quarantine consistent, and there is no excuse for ignoring them. From Times senior correspondent Justin Moreland, quote, "If we invest in preserving nature and transitioning our energy system today, we will stave off the worst." End quote. For example, proposing solutions such as adopting clean energy instead of oil and coal, securing access to clean water, introducing new jobs, helping communities struggling due to climate change, converting more sustainable farming practices, and so on. It's easier said than done to make major changes, but on a smaller scale, there is direct action that individuals can mutually take to not only keep the momentum but protect themselves by doing the bare minimum, and that is staying home and social distancing. Collectively choosing environmentally friendlier options during daily life, for example, driving less, instead switching to public transportation, cooking at home instead of ordering takeout and prepackaged foods, and reducing personal waste with reusable bottles and bags are simple ways to make a difference. Environmental changes have been urged for decades now, and the world cannot handle them being held back any longer. In conclusion, humankind must pay attention to these changes and consider how to avoid going back to harmful tendencies as people crawl out of quarantine. This is a preventable demise and humanity's millionth wake-up call. We cannot keep hitting snooze. Thank you.